Mike. All right. So he's also one of my leading duty officers. So he takes care of the place when I'm not there and makes sure I get the appropriate phone calls. But he's also the administrative leading petty officer. So he's kind of working outside his normal duties, make sure that all of the administrative paperwork, pay, personnel admin stuff gets done. And I really lean on him a lot to do that. And that's part of why he is the Sailor of the Year at my command. So. All right. 7:30 on June 6, 1944, under a clear sky and a low tide, but rising, chosen so that the Allied landing craft could see and avoid the obstructions laid at Normandy Beach, the 6th Naval Beach Battalion made their approach. That day, under heavy fire, sailors of the 6th Naval Beach Battalion identified and cleared obstacles on the beach, marked safe lanes for landing craft to navigate, contributing to the capture of Omaha Beach and the success of the landings at Normandy. All right, good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me today to speak at your luncheon. Beachmaster Unit 1 was commissioned on July 13th, 1949. 1 year before Naval Beach Group 1, the Commodore Rochford, who spoke here last month. But now you know Beachmasters were around 4 years before the Beach Group was founded. We trace our pedigree back to those sailors of the 6th Naval Beach Battalion that made their landings on Normandy. While a lot's changed in terms of technology, our basic mission requirements have remained the same. That's to facilitate the landing and movement of troops, equipment, and supplies over the beach. We're kind of like air traffic controllers. A plane cannot land, take off, a vehicle can enter the runway without an air traffic controller directing those movements. My sailors do the same for a beach. We can't land on a beach, you can't move troops across the beach, you can't leave the beach without Beachmasters there on the beach. Whether it's an LCU or an LCAC or any other type of landing craft, Beachmasters are there. Back in the old days of the 6th Naval Beach Battalion, the beach that was comprised of 6 sections. Today, I'm organizing the beach party teams. I have 5 active and 2 reserve. So those 6 sections that the 6th Naval Beach Battalion was organized into was a hydrographics section, so that's doing beach surveys, mapping out the underwater topography, checking for obstacles, clearing some of those obstacles if possible, and we still do that today in the beach party teams. There are demolition units. Those are used to clear those obstructions. No longer a core competency of BMU 1 that's moved over to EOD and Inspect War, so I don't do that mission anymore. There was a boat repair section, and I still have those maintainers within my command. We also do much more. We have all the rolling stock, all of our Humvee, our 7.5-ton trucks, forklifts, things like that. There was a communications section. So I still have that today. The equipment's maybe changed a little bit, modernized, but we still do that within the beach party teams. There is a naval medical section. I have corpsmen in each of my teams. Deploy them all around the world. And there are bakers and cooks. I don't have those anymore. We use MREs. Maybe better, maybe not. But if we are on the beach for an extended period of time, then the Beachmasters will fall underneath either the Marine Corps Landing Force Support Party, we'll part of them, or we'll integrate with the Naval Construction Battalions, the Seabees, in their camp for camp support and security. All right, so what's changed? Spoke a little bit about that. So what's really changed with BMU 1? So among other things, technology has given me the LARC, the Lighter Amphibious Resupplier Cargo Vessel. That's those duck boats you may kind of see, maybe the harbor tours in San Diego. They're amphibious, they drive in the water and then go back on the beach. That's my main battery. Okay, that's what I'm centered around, a beach party team with the LARCs. Built in the mid-60s, this is a single prop, 4-wheeled, diesel-powered, hydraulically propelled craft, capable of transporting 10,000 pounds of cargo across land, 4,000 on the water. We carry 20 personnel. It can tow vehicles out of the surf zone, assist in surf zone salvage, and checking for sandbars. While very capable, this craft was built in the 60s. It's aging. It's already been through 1 service life extension program, but it's still in service. The replacement's being developed, originally planned to be delivered in fiscal year 19, so we're a little behind the curve on that one. But in a world of continuing resolutions for the defense budget, a prototype has not been developed. So as mentioned in the 2017 Strategic Readiness Review, this is the Secretary of the Navy's review into the incidents that happened during the Pacific. This was just released a few days ago. It says, and I quote, "As a highly capitalized department, a continuing resolution frequently results in funding being in the wrong appropriation account or not permitting ramp-ups in procurement quantity or program new starts as planned for in upcoming budgets, such as the current demise of the LARC replacement." The CNO earlier last year, I should say, spoke to Congress saying, "While we talk about whether to keep ships in port and aircraft on the ground, our competitors are making steady progress and gaining on us." Okay, he is directly speaking to the unpredictability of the current budget, and while we have the ability to maintain current operations, we're unable to modernize our military, directly impacting fleet readiness. All right, so let's shift a little bit here. So I'm currently reading, get into a little bit of history, appreciate that. So I'm currently reading the book Neptune's Inferno by James Hornfisher. Just read that. Maybe you've heard of it. Okay, great book, talks about the battle for the Solomon Islands in World War II. I'm embarrassed, I'm just starting reading it now. I probably should have read it years ago. But it's got a lot of attention by the flags right now for various reasons. Some of those challenges that sailors faced then, we are facing now. Readiness, training, logistics challenges in a fight with a peer adversary. Okay, you haven't heard that term probably in a while. Then it was the Japanese. Now it's the Chinese. A lot of countries we used to call near peer adversaries are rapidly gaining on us. In World War II, we underestimated the Imperial Japanese Navy. We cannot afford to underestimate the People's Liberation Army Navy, or as we call it, the Chinese Navy. So to face this threat, one of the things the CNO has asked the fleet to do is to innovate. All right, so what's BMU-1 doing to innovate? A couple initiatives I'm undertaking. Besides being a consultant on the LCU and LARC replacement programs, the former is in development and going quite well. The latter we just discussed. My sailors have been integral in the development of techniques and procedures for the Expeditionary Transfer Dock ship. Okay, this is a ship class built on the Alaska crude oil carrier, converted to land 3 LCACs on their beam. Okay, when she marries up with a maritime repositioning ship at sea, she's capable of offloading the entire ship at sea via LCACs. In fact, I'm deploying a team of sailors this spring to South Korea to participate in an exercise where we're employing one of these expeditionary transfer ship docks. A week ago, with the assistance from Commodore Rochford's supply officer, I purchased 3 autonomous underwater vehicles to complement my beach survey teams. So underwater drones. While doctrinally responsible for locating underwater obstructions, that's one of the things I'm tasked to do. Sandbars, mapping the underwater hydrography out to the 3 fathom curve. So that's 18 feet of depth of water, roughly just where the surf zone starts. I don't have really capability of doing that. Okay. The Navy Oceanographic Fleet Survey teams, rapidly deployable, are tasked with supporting this mission for me among other units. But they're a low density, high demand unit. There's only 2 of them in the Navy to support the whole fleet. So the technology that I just purchased, it's low cost, it's portable, and it's a commercial solution that will significantly increase my capability to conduct more detailed beach surveys, and it will give the operational commanders more information as they choose their sites they want to land amphibious craft. And finally, a third initiative that I'm undertaking is I'm testing portable, rugged solar solutions to provide power on the beach for my laptops, for my radios, for lighting, so I can reduce my demand on fossil fuels and reduce the amount of fuel I need to take with me to the beach. All right. So in his latest message to the fleet, just released a couple days ago, the CNO said, I quote, "Our adversaries are adaptive and increasingly assertive. We must rise to the challenge. We must learn from our mistakes, capture our successes, and share those insights across the force, and improve upon our best every day." Okay, end quote. And I'll add that we must leverage technology to enable us to do this. All right, some of you may have been through a deployment cycle, but I'll capture it real quick. Typically, you do your workups, then you deploy, you return, you capture some lessons learned, and you share that with the fleet commanders and the next deploying units. By the time that's happened, there's been another carrier strike group, another amphibious ready group, 2, maybe 3 others that are on deployment or have already deployed and come back. And they encounter the same issues that you just encountered. And we're relearning from our mistakes. We learn on this project. All right, so what if these lessons learned are transmitted in real time? What if they're integrated into the next deploying group while they're working up so they can learn those, integrate that into their workup cycles, integrate the new capabilities to their deploying ships, deploying units, and go out so we're not relearning the same mistakes that we've made. What if, and I think we talked about this, here we talked about sharing in each board members, what if reports I make to my Commodore every week or every other week, or to the Admiral, are shared with my fellow COs so they can collaborate and say, hey, I've had that issue before, here's what helped me out. Okay? It doesn't sound like this is anything new. We've had email, we've had this technology for a long time, but in a culture of, and I'm a SWO, okay, service war for us, we like to get our young, we're at alpha, we want to always get ahead of the guy next to me, and I want to be the number one, make rank, be the number one guy or whatever. Well, I'll tell you right now that Expeditionary Strike Group 3, that's the strike group that I fall under with Commodore Rochford, is doing this. He insisted that COs share the reports to him with every other CO in his strike group. He insisted that the strike groups on deployment right now share the lessons learned in real time, and we are now making those changes to our next deploying amphibious ready group. Okay, the CNO calls that high velocity learning. Okay, and that's an example of it. That's to get ahead of that power curve, get ahead of our enemies, so that we can learn quickly and more rapidly than them and adapt quicker. And it's working. In my 20 years of service, I've never seen the collaboration I am seeing now. And it's phenomenal. It's going to make us a stronger Navy. And CNO finished that message by saying, we're going to finish 2018 as the safest Navy for our sailors, the most rewarding for our partners, and the most lethal Navy for our enemies. Right? I believe that. All right, one more thing before I close. One more topic I want to bring up. So this goes back to reading the Neptune's Inferno again. And one of the things that struck me was all the naval battles that were fought and the lives that were lost. But the sailors stood side by side and kept fighting that ship, fighting their ship, even while it was sinking. Okay. There's an element of American fighting spirit and toughness that goes with that. And some believe that maybe today that's lost. Okay. The CNO has identified toughness as one of his 4 core attributes to guide Navy leaders. The others being integrity, accountability, and initiative. He defined toughness as, quote, our ability to take a hit, recover, and keep on going. I'll submit that sailors of today are every bit as tough as those sailors of the 6th Naval Beach Battalion were on the landings of Normandy. What they're lacking is the appropriate mentorship and training and solid leadership. Sailors today are smart, they're innovative, they address problems differently than you or even I might. Okay? We can't judge them by the same standards that we judge the sailors of yesteryear. in the past. What we need to do as leaders is we need to prepare them for battle with a peer adversary. Ships are going to take hits, and we need to keep fighting, and we need to prepare them for that. We need to sharpen our seamanship skills. We need to adhere to our principles of strict procedural compliance, no shortcuts. We need to add rigor and realism to our training. And we need to know our tactics and those of our enemies better than they do. I'm confident that the course corrections being made to the fleet today by the CNO and the other fleet commanders are going to make our Navy stronger, more professional, and more lethal. And some of those I think the Commodore touched upon last month. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I appreciate BMU1's relationship with the Navy League of Palm Springs and look forward to our continuing interaction in